Another scandal dethrones another of the kings of Wall Street. New rules that could mean cleaner air but higher prices at the gas pump. And what if you went to the hospital and something went wrong? Very wrong. This is the CBS Evening News. Dan Rather reporting. Good evening. After Ivan Boesky, after Michael Milken, comes yet another corruption case rocking Wall Street, and another top manager of a Wall Street powerhouse goes. CBS News business correspondent Ray Brady reports on the shame and the shakeup at Salomon Brothers.
Towering over the financial district sits the man they call the King of Wall Street, tough, ruthless John Goodfriend. But now his firm, Salomon Brothers, stands accused of illegal trading in government bonds. And Goodfriend himself was toppled from his throne, announcing today he would resign.
In the history of Wall Street, there have been all sorts of shenanigans. But that Salomon would be involved, if in fact they are, it was a shock to Wall Street. Most of us felt that the firm was above this sort of thing.
From his trading floors, Goodfriend ran a massive money machine, one the government says broke the rules.
When Uncle Sam sells bonds to raise money, no individual firm can buy more than 35%. That's to prevent a firm from buying so many bonds that it can push up the price and then turn around and sell those bonds at a fat profit.
Salomon admitted it exceeded the limit several times, once by buying bonds in the name of a customer who didn't even know about the deal.
A small number of people at the top of the financial pyramid are playing games with taxpayers' money. And that's wrong, just plain wrong. And it has to end.
Top executives at Salomon made big salaries, $10 million a year and more. And as a symbol of the go-go 1980s, John Goodfriend lived high, once daring an associate to bet $1 million on a card trick. Hard to be rich, they say, but his second wife, a former flight attendant, spent $20 million to furnish their New York apartment. Trading was suspended in Salomon stock for a while today after it dropped over $1 billion in value this week. It was one more jolt for scandal-scarred Wall Street.
It undermines confidence in the integrity of all financial markets, this being the most fundamental of financial markets.
Without that confidence, it could make it tougher for the U.S. government to pay its bills. Ray Brady, CBS News, New York.
Environmentalists and oil companies called a truce today in their battle over clean air. It's a move that's expected to clear the way for a cleaner burning gasoline. Wyatt Andrews has that story.
The Christians made peace with the lions today in Washington as environmental groups cut a deal with big oil and with the government on the new rules for cleaning up gasoline. It is a one-of-a-kind agreement everyone says will visibly reduce smog.
The agreement that was signed today represents the single most environmentally significant initiative that we can take to reduce air pollution in the United States.
The deal over time will change the way gasoline is made, reducing the elements that create smog. In the nation's 9 smoggiest cities, all gas stations will be required to sell only reformulated gas, probably ethanol or methanol blends, by 1995. Other cities suffering pollution have the option to join. But it was on that point, the cities that might join, that broke the party atmosphere here down into a good fight. Big Oil said if too many cities want the new blends, we might not meet the demand. Green groups responded, oh yes you will. Big Oil also warned that pump prices will rise.
I don't know whether it'll be 3 to 5 cents. It's possible that it will be more.
While experts scoffed, saying the increase should be next to nothing.
It's possible with some great minds in the industry that they'll be able to meet this without anyone ever noticing how much it's going to cost, what any increase is. And secondly, again, I can't.
That's wishful thinking.
Well.
Still, the agreement here is remarkable, not just for the environment, but also for the way Washington, for once this time, worked. Usually, after Congress passes a complicated law like the Clean Air Act, interest groups fight in court for years over the rules. This time, Big Oil and environmental groups agreed in advance that they would write the rules together and never sue. Dan?
Well, what's the controversy about higher prices at the pump?
Well, Dan, the argument here from the oil companies is that if they have to change their whole refining system for this reformulation, it's going to cost them billions and probably consumers 5 to 10 cents even in the pumps over the years. The environmental groups respond, in essence, sure that that's the same thing the oil companies said when they took lead out of gasoline, and that price increase was only a penny.
Wyatt Andrews, thanks. Oops, said the hospital, after apparently making a big mistake in Portland, Oregon. A transplant patient there is recovering tonight from surgery in which he apparently was given the wrong heart. John Blackstone tells us how it happened.
It is a fear that almost every patient who needs surgery will admit to. What if, amidst all the advanced medical technology, somebody makes a simple mistake?
Around a heart transplant procedure, a lot of things take place within a very short time.
But for a patient in a Portland, Oregon hospital Wednesday, one of those things went wrong. In the middle of transplant surgery, doctors discovered they had the wrong heart. It did not match the patient's blood type. The patient is type O, the donated heart type A.
How can something as simple as a blood type get mixed up?
We don't understand that ourselves right now.
We've already passed one possible outcome, and one possible outcome could have been that as soon as they took the cross clamp off the heart could have turned blue and stopped.
Still, the patient's body is expected to reject the new heart within days. At least 8 other heart transplant patients have suffered from the same mistake. It happened to James Shockley at a hospital in Arizona in 1987.
Your first reaction is, why? I didn't come in here for this.
A new heart was found in time to save Shockley. The worry in Oregon is that a new heart won't be found in time.
Between 25 to 35% of the patients that are waiting for those organs die because no donors are identified.
The patient in Oregon has asked not to be named, but his wife issued a statement today saying he was aware of the terrible mistake and was anxiously awaiting a compatible heart. John Blackstone, CBS News, San Francisco.
Still ahead on tonight's CBS Evening News, a new protest against a policy that keeps AIDS victims out of the United States. And we'll take you back inside Vietnam and the search for MIAs.
So you just got a cash advance, did you? Too bad you used an ordinary credit card, because you could be carrying some very heavy interest charges. Why not carry the Discover card? Just pay your full monthly balance and a small transaction fee, and we'll forget the interest, which means our money comes with no strings attached. It pays to Discover.
This is the sound of Unisom, the sound of sleep. With Unisom, you hit your pillow and fall asleep fast. Tonight, you can sleep more soundly with Unisom, America's #1 sleep aid.
When minor arthritis pain holds you back, you need strong medicine. Bengay, with not just 1 but 2 pain relievers. Warming power for fast relief. Bengay helps get you going again. Bengay, fast, strong medicine for pain relief.
Harvard made good today on a threat. It dropped plans to host the 1992 World Conference on AIDS. The university had warned that it would not hold the meeting unless President Bush lifted travel restrictions aimed at foreigners with AIDS. Correspondent Richard Threlkeld reports.
At this year's International AIDS Conference in Florence, Italy, there was a protest against holding next year's conference in Boston because of a U.S. immigration rule that won't allow people infected with the AIDS virus into this country. Today, because of that rule, the conference sponsor, Harvard University, canceled the plans for Boston and announced it'll hold the conference somewhere outside the United States.
We can't assure that people who should or would want to come to the conference will be able to come to the conference given the restrictions that are in place today.
There's a debate in the Bush administration about whether to lift the immigration restriction because, unlike tuberculosis, for example, AIDS is not a very communicable disease. The Health and Human Services Administration said the Harvard decision was, quote, unfortunate and unnecessary because the government could have allowed AIDS-infected delegates to come to Boston for a short period. And President Bush said, in effect, the conference is welcome to go anywhere it wants.
We're spending $4 billion a year on AIDS research, and our scientists are by far the most prestigious and most forward-looking in a research department. But they'll find other ways to get together, so it doesn't bother me. That's their choice.
But AIDS activists hailed Harvard's decision.
Harvard University did the right thing. It was the only principled thing they could do.
as long as the United States has a policy keeping people with HIV from entering this country.
You can sit down.
Since the U.S. has the most AIDS victims and the most AIDS researchers, holding the conference somewhere else will be at the least an inconvenience. It's scheduled for next May. As of today, it is homeless. Richard Threlkeld, CBS News, New York.
A new report on AIDS tonight finds the disease is changing behavior, but not necessarily attitudes. More on that from correspondent Richard Roth.
It's a measure of how the disease has affected the way people think and act, how it's contributed to fear, and how it's changed some of life's most intimate behavior. 2 Rand Corporation surveys presented today to Los Angeles County health officials measured how a sample of homosexual men has responded to the AIDS epidemic, and how the community at large has changed attitudes and behavior because of AIDS.
Virtually every adult in the county knows about the major transmission routes. What people don't know, as thoroughly as they ought to, is how AIDS is not contracted.
Despite medical opinion, many people worried that AIDS could be caught from casual contact at a restaurant or from someone coughing or sneezing. Most people said AIDS education ought to be started early, in elementary school, according to 87% of those surveyed. Among homosexual men, the main finding was that AIDS has drastically changed the dynamics of dating.
Nearly 90% of the gay men we surveyed reported that they had made some change in their behavior as a result of the AIDS epidemic.
Edward Paulo has found that in his own life.
Now that I know all the things that I know about AIDS, I practice monogamy.
Changes in the general population weren't so widespread. Only 3 in 10 adults said AIDS had affected their actions.
When it comes down to it, if you're in a room alone together and you're about to have sex, if you don't have a condom on you or available, I think they'll have sex anyway.
The survey found most people see AIDS as a public health issue, but not a significant personal threat. And the RAND scientists said, for most people, that's about right. Richard Roth, CBS News, Los Angeles.
The United Nations Secretary General says he hopes the Middle East hostage crisis can be settled within 2 weeks. Javier Pérez de Cuellar began a vacation in Portugal today. He said negotiations will continue behind the scenes. Now, here's a look at some other stories CBS News is covering. In Gulfport, Mississippi, self-described serial killer Donald Roy Evans was charged with the murder this month of a 10-year-old girl. Evans says he has killed 60 people in 20 states. In Indianapolis, 25 anti-abortion demonstrators were arrested for blocking entry to an abortion clinic. The protesters say they're members of a new group calling itself, quote, Save a Life. In London, the International Tennis Federation is barring top-ranked Monica Seles from next year's Olympics, saying she faked an injury to get out of this year's Federation Cup. And in New York, the Yankees put Don Mattingly back in the lineup tonight after he agreed to get a haircut. He was benched yesterday after refusing to comply with the Yankees' grooming code.
Presenting the Gripper Zipper from Ziploc. Now the easiest closing bag there is. In fact, even the little ones can close it. Hello.
Feel the zipper. It's locking. Feel it close the first time, every time.
Ziploc bags.
With the Gripper Zipper. A lot of you insist on eating wheat thins and oat thins because they taste good. But the whole idea behind these crackers is that you can eat them without feeling guilty. That's why they're baked, not fried. I mean, eat them because they're delicious, and you miss the whole point.
April in Paris.
He spoke English like I spoke French, but somehow we talked for hours over coffee. Coffee so rich, I thought I'd never taste its like again.
Discover the deep, rich flavor of Maxwell House Rich French Roast.
Encore un café?
What?
More coffee?
Oui.
Maxwell House Rich French Roast, blended with Colombian beans because better beans make better coffee.
Because some aches and pains don't go away when the lights go out, we've created new Tylenol PM, specially formulated with extra-strength Tylenol pain reliever for those aches and pains that can keep you up at night, plus a gentle ingredient to help you sleep, so you can wake up refreshed in the morning. From the name you trust comes new Tylenol PM, so you can rest easy.
I can't say no more.
And you wouldn't either if Jelly Bean Molinaro and a mob hit team were gunning for you. Movie of the week? No, 60 Minutes.
An Indian Airlines jet crashed today on a domestic flight. All 69 people on board were killed. The Boeing 737 went down in hilly terrain in northeastern India, a few miles short of the airport. The cause of that crash, not known. Another type of Boeing plane, the 767, has been under scrutiny ever since the crash of an Austrian charter flight in Thailand 3 months ago. Today, correspondent Eric Ingberg reports the U.S. government ordered airlines to shut down one engine system on those Boeing planes.
The FAA today told airlines to stop using a ground-breaking device on some Boeing 767 airplanes rather than take a chance the device will deploy in the air with disastrous results. The safety order, affecting an estimated 39 of the newer model 767s operated by U.S. airlines, stems from the discovery that a reverse engine thruster may have played a role in the Lauda airline crash in Thailand last May that killed 223 people. The reverse thruster, designed for use only on the ground, redirects the flow of engine air to help slow the plane down on landings.
What it really is a prudent move by the FAA. While a part is under investigation, they have said, let's just not use this part for a while.
Investigators looking into the Lauda crash found one of the reverse thrusters in the on position, and the cockpit recorder showed the crew poring over manuals on how to deal with the problem seconds before the crash. Then the co-pilot warns, reversers deployed. There is the sound of a snap and the pilot exclaiming, Jesus Christ. That is followed by alarms, a siren, and the sound of a bang. Even though the crash is still being studied, the National Transportation Safety Board pushed the FAA to check the devices. An exchange of letters between the agencies shows the FAA moved only after the Safety Board accused it of foot dragging, the board calling for action in the strongest terms possible. Pilots say discontinuing use of the reversers on the 168 planes that use this type worldwide won't endanger or inconvenience passengers because the plane is designed to stop safely using only its brakes. Eric Ingberg, CBS News, Washington.
Senator John Kerry is calling on President Bush to lift economic sanctions against Vietnam, saying it could help free up information about the fate of Americans missing in action. Kerry, a Vietnam veteran, is in Southeast Asia pursuing what he calls, quote, hot leads. The MIA issue is getting a lot of attention since several photographs surfaced purporting to show missing American servicemen alive. Among them, Air Force Colonel John Robertson. So far, none of the pictures has proved authentic. Still, new attempts are being made to account for Robertson and other MIAs. CBS News correspondent Bill Whitaker reports on America's return to Vietnam.
I'm in the crater.
26 years ago, U.S. Air Force Colonel John Robertson's plane was shot down and crashed in this forest 30 miles east of Hanoi. This week, a team of American investigators came here to try to determine the fate of Robertson and others still listed as missing in action.
We do hope to find something, that there will be some biological remains that perhaps have not been found yet, something so small as a tooth.
The villagers here and officials in Hanoi say Robertson died in the crash. The U.S. says there's a possibility he survived. The Vietnamese have searched this site 3 times already. They say they're helping the Americans look again to prove they have nothing to hide.
Anywhere where there is some information, believable or unbelievable, we want to cooperate with you.
Hanoi allowed the U.S. to open this MIA office last month and promised to make government records available. A congressional delegation in Hanoi last week said after 2 decades of stonewalling, the communist government genuinely seems willing to help.
The Vietnamese have clearly gotten the message on POWs, MIAs. Our belief is that they have been cooperating. They continue to cooperate even more greatly as time passes.
Vietnam's change of heart has nothing to do with altruism. Years of communist central planning has left the economy a shambles, and recent free market reforms have been stymied by the tight U.S. trade embargo. Vietnam hopes cooperation on MIAs will convince the U.S. to resume trade.
We think that we have a lot to learn and to share with the United States. We wish
that the U.S. would come back as quickly as possible.
Possibly 3 people digging at one time.
To the Americans out here, the reasons for Vietnam's newfound cooperation are much less important than that for the first time since the end of the war, there's a real chance to find out what happened to America's missing in action. Bill Whitaker, CBS News, Hai Hung Province, Vietnam.
If you're looking to maintain regularity, look here. There's a drug-free way to do it, and Kellogg's All Brand can be an important part, because a high-fiber diet, including Kellogg's All Brand, can give you the fiber you need to help stay regular, drug-free. And All Brand goes a lot better with berries. A high-fiber diet and Kellogg's All Brand for drug-free regularity.
At Prudential Real Estate, our agents are trained to be prepared.
Now where are we?
Briarwood. Good schools, low taxes, Crescent Street.
Don't you know that?
Lilacs.
Prudential Real Estate. We're prepared to make it happen.
Poison ivy, insect bites, rashes. Too many choices.
You only need one. Cordade.
Stop the itch and heal the rash with a brand doctors recommend most.
Present arms.
Cortade, the only aid you need.
They've come for you. It's your bed, your Serta Perfect Sleeper, but it's the most comfortable spot in the house. The Serta surface and support-only Serta builds in makes it that way, the way it should be. It's why people are saying, I want my Serta.
You can get your Serta mattress on sale during the Serta truckload sale at participating retailers. But hurry, the trucks are rolling fast, so pick up your Serta today.
Last year's Super Bowl runner-ups, the Buffalo Bills, battle the Green Bay Packers. NFL preseason action Saturday on CBS Sports.
Most of us don't think much about what happens to the trash we throw away. We're just glad to be rid of it. But it has to go somewhere, and some waste management companies think they found just the place. Ron Allen shows us where, in tonight's Eye on America.
That is our sacred land to the Indian people. Once you destroy it...
Modern landfill with all the environmental controls.
Just to waste out our land just for a handful of money.
They could give a damn less about us Indians up here.
On an Indian reservation in a distant corner of San Diego County, a debate is raging that could affect the environment for generations to come. San Diego's landfills, like garbage dumps across the country, are running out of space. And everyone's saying, don't put a new one in my backyard. So huge, undeveloped Indian reservations suddenly have become the new frontier for waste companies.
I think that this is going to be a tremendous opportunity, and I don't think we're trying to exploit the Indian reservation in any way, shape, or form.
They think they're way back in the 1800s. We can't even think.
But tribal elders like Catherine Salvel see a new threat to Indian culture and their land.
Remember, they were going to annihilate us from the face of the earth at one time. They didn't do it. Now they're going to do it by poisoning us from these garbage things.
Right now, there isn't a single Indian reservation in the United States with a landfill that accepts garbage from nearby communities. But waste management companies across the country are tempting dozens of tribes with multi-million-dollar deals to dump everything, including hazardous materials. And on reservations where poverty is often the only thing that flourishes, some tribal leaders welcome the promise of jobs and money.
We have virtually no industry here. Our unemployment rate is around 50%.
Convinced he can build a safe landfill, Ralph Goff's tribe is already testing sites near an old rail line that connects the reservation with suburban San Diego.
It is a business. It's something that's going to help our people.
20, 30 years, it'll be full of trash, and it's not going to...
But opponents like Milton Campbell insist the waste companies are rushing to Indian land because it's sovereign territory, regulated by the federal government, but exempt from tougher state environmental laws.
They came right out and told us, if we do it on the reservation, it's going to make it that much easier. We're not going to have to follow any rules.
And that's what worries Ed and Donna Tisdale, who could have a landfill right next door.
Well, the dump site starts right across this fence here at this ridge.
They don't trust their Indian neighbors to protect the groundwater beneath their ranch.
We have no other water. This is it. When it's gone, that's all she wrote. The Indians have sovereign rights, where are our rights and who speaks up for us?
While Indians, ranchers, and lawyers argue about who will regulate these proposed dumps, there is evidence some tribes already are using their sovereign status to hide illegal operations that earn hefty profits. It looks like contaminated soil. A typical... Investigators are in a heated battle with the tribal leaders on this desert reservation. They recently dug up an unusual Indian burial ground after informants from the tribe told them toxic materials were buried here.
I don't know what it was, but I know it was toxic. I know it wasn't right. Where the trucks came in, where'd all the money go to? Who took the money, you know?
Prosecutors insist tougher laws are needed now, while so many tribes are being enticed with landfill deals, both legal and illegal.
The activity that occurs on the reservations might very well have an impact on state residents off the reservations.
At a recent meeting for hours behind closed doors, Indians on the Los Coyotes reservation debated which is more important, the money or the land.
I voted no.
In a close vote, they rejected a garbage dump.
You could give me trillions of dollars, I wouldn't take it. I've been poor all my life, but that land means more to me. It belonged to my ancient people, and that's the way I want to keep it.
This time, the land won. Ron Allen, CBS News, on the Los Coyotes reservation.
And that's part of our world tonight. Bob Schieffer will have the news for you tomorrow. Dan Rather for the CBS Evening News. I'll see you again Monday. Good night.
Introducing a car so intelligently engineered, its elegance and grace can be measured along these lines or graded on a curve. The 1992 Oldsmobile 88 Royale, beautifully redefined and nimble enough to prove that a straight line isn't always the best way to get from point A to point B. Oldsmobile, the power of intelligent engineering.
I thought all no-stick cooking sprays were just like Pam. Boy, was I wrong.
Only Pam is all natural with no preservatives. Only Pam.
And Pam adds virtually no fat or calories for healthier meals.
All natural Pam, a healthier way to cook.
Refreshing mint. No wonder Polident has a minty mouthwash ingredient in every tablet. Other cleansers may get dentures clean, but Polident gets the minty fresh clean. Super strength, super minty, Polident.
Here's news. If your athlete's foot won't go away, you could have more than athlete's foot. You could have a secondary yeast infection. That's right, yeast.
Only Mycotin cures both athlete's foot and secondary yeast infections with Myconazole. Step up to the mic. Mycotin.
With the chalky taste of some antacids, it can seem that the cure is worse than the pain. Introducing new Mylanta Cherry and Cool Mint Creams, the best tasting antacids, blended creamier for a non-chalky taste.
No wonder my doctor said Mylanta.
I put off seeing my doctor because I was worried about needing surgery for my hemorrhoids. I suffered for it. The pain, itching, and burning were awful. But the doctor said my hemorrhoids weren't serious. I didn't need surgery. He told me it was time I started using Preparation H.
New Preparation H cream helps shrink swelling of inflamed hemorrhoidal tissues and often brings relief from pain, itching, and burning for hours.
What a difference Preparation H cream makes.
New Preparation H cream.
This is CBS.
You're watching Coin TV, Channel 6, live